Good evening and Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We are in 1 Kings chapter 17, roughly page 371 in the scriptures. I get the question all the time. What version of the Bible is that? It's the scriptures. Look at your screen. See that? The scriptures. The scriptures. www.isr-messianic.org. All right, and so why do you use that one? YouTube search bar, Bear Independent Bible. There's a whole video on it. Chapter 17. We saw in 16 last week that Ahab was the worst of the worst. Remember that? He was terrible. Just terrible. And Ahab, he went and served Baal and bowed himself to it and raised up a slaughter place for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Shomron. And Ahab made an Asherah, which is a phallic-shaped carving of wood, which is an obelisk, which is a steeple. Did you Google it yet? I asked you last week to do your own research on this. And Ahab made an Asherah, and Ahab did more to provoke Yahweh Elohim of Israel than all the kings of Israel. Thank you for the breeze, Yah. All the kings of Israel before him. So, things were so bad under the reign of Ahab that Hiel built Bethel, and he murdered a couple of his kids to do it, as prophesied by Joshua, Yehoshua, in the 6th book of this Bible, Joshua 6, verse 26. And so now, in light of this situation that the Israelites find themselves in, we meet Eliyahu, Elijah. And Eliyahu, the Tishbite of the inhabitants of Gilead, said to Ahab, "As Yahweh Elohim of Israel lives, before whom I stand, there shall be no dew or rain these years, except at my word." And the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, "Go away from here, and turn eastward, and hide by the Wadi Kerith, which flows into the Jordan. And it shall be that you drink from the stream, and I shall command the ravens to feed you there." So Elijah stands up to Ahab and says, "Yah said, you are so out of line that the skies will not open up to you until the word of Yah says so." And then Elijah scoots his boots. He gets on the move. "And it shall be that you drink from the stream, and I shall command the ravens to feed you there." And he went and did according to the word of Yahweh, for he went and dwelt by the Wadi Kerith, which flows into the Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening, and he drank from the stream. And it came to be after a while that the stream dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. Then the word of Yahweh came to him, "Rise up and go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and dwell there. See, I have commanded a widow there to sustain you." And he rose up and went to Zarephath, and came to the gate of the city, and saw a widow there gathering sticks. And he called to her and said, "Please bring me a little water in a vessel to drink." And as she was going to get it, he called to her and said, "Please bring me a piece of bread in your hand." And she said, "As Yahweh your Elohim lives." Now this is interesting. Yah commanded a widow. Yah has commanded a widow. She's in Sidon. And she uses the phrase, Yahweh your Elohim. So, we'll see how this relationship progresses, but just take note of these details here. And she said, "As Yahweh your Elohim lives, I do not have bread, only a handful of flour in a bin and a little oil in a jar. And see, I am gathering a couple of sticks and shall go in and prepare it for myself and my son, and we shall eat it and die." She's like, "Homie, I got nothing. A little bit of flour, a little bit of oil. We're going to eat what we have, and then we're going to go die, because we got nothing else." And Elijah said to her, "Do not fear. Go and do as you have said, but make a small cake from it first, and bring it to me. And afterward, make some for yourself and your son. For thus said Yahweh Elohim of Israel, the bin of flour shall not be used up, nor the jar of oil run dry, until the day Yahweh sends rain on the earth." So she went and did according to the word of Eliyahu. And she and he and her household ate for many days. The bin of flour was not used up, nor did the jar of oil run dry, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spoke by Eliyahu. And after these events came to be that the son of the woman who owned the house became sick, and his sickness was very severe. until there was no breath left in him. And he said to Eliyahu, and she said to Eliyahu, what have I to do with you, O man of Elohim? Have you come to bring my crookedness to be remembered and kill my son? And he said to her, give me your son. So he took him from her arms and took him to the upper room where he was dwelling and laid him on his own bed and cried out to Yahweh and said, O Yahweh, my Elohim, have you also brought evil on the widow with whom I am sojourning to kill her son? And he stretched himself out on the child 3 times and cried out to Yahweh and said, O Yahweh, my Elohim, I pray, let the life of this child come back to him. And Yahweh heard the voice of Eliyahu, and the life of the child came back to him, and he lived. And Eliyahu, Elijah, took the child and brought him down from the upper room into the house and gave him to his mother. And Eliyahu said, see, your son lives. And the woman said to Eliyahu, now by this I know that you are a man of Elohim, and that the word of Yahweh is in your mouth is true. By the way, if you can hear a little bit of wind, I apologize. I know we had some issues with the audio last week. I was doing that on my PC, and I had selected the wrong microphone input, and you were listening to me through the subpar microphone on my webcam, not the really good Blue Yeti microphone on my desk, so I apologize. As for the wind, I have no control over it. It comes and it goes. Read, John chapter 4, as Mashiach Messiah is instructing Nicodemus about the Holy Spirit, if you have issues with the wind. Chapter 18, and after many days it came to be that the word of Yahweh came to Eliyahu in the 3rd year, saying, go and present yourself to Ahab, and I give rain on the earth. So, for many days, in the 3rd year, so this bin of flour and jar of oil did not run dry. You know, there's an entire festival in the Jewish tradition around 8 days of oil for the lamp in the tent of appointment, the tabernacle in the temple unto Yahweh. That's where you get Hanukkah from. Well, for years, this flour and this oil didn't run out. Pretty awesome. Thereupon Eliyahu went to present himself to Ahab, and the scarcity of food in Shomeron was severe. And Ahab called Obadiah, who was over his house. Now Obadiah feared Yahweh exceedingly. So Ahab was a scumbag, but this guy Obadiah was a good dude. And it came to be, while Jezebel cut down the prophets of Yahweh, that Obadiah had taken 100 prophets and hidden them, 50 to a cave, and had fed them with bread and water. So Jezebel, Ahab's wife, was killing the prophets of Yah. But Obadiah, I see that and I want to say Obadiah, but it's written Obadiyahu. Obadiah had taken 100 prophets and hidden them, 50 to a cave. So we could infer here that there were 2 caves. But he basically underground railroaded these people of Yah, these prophets of Yah, out from underneath Jezebel, who was killing them actively. And Ahab said to Obadiah, go into the land to all the springs of water and into all the wadis. It could be that we find grass to keep the horses and mules alive and not have any livestock cut off. If they're running out of water, they don't have any grass, they don't have any hay to feed the animals, and livestock could die. And they divided the land between them to pass over. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself. And as Obadiah was on his way, then see Eliyahu, Elijah, came to meet him. And he recognized him and fell on his face and said, is that you, my master Eliyahu? And he, Eliyahu, answered and said, it is I. Go, say to your master, Eliyahu is here. And he, Obadiah, said, what have I sinned that you are giving your servant into the hand of Ahab to kill me? As Yahweh your Elohim lives, there is no nation or reign where my master has not sent looking for you. And when they said, he is not here, he made the reign or nations swear that they could not find you. And now you say, go say to your master Eliyahu is here. And it shall be as soon as I am gone from you, that the spirit of Yahweh takes you away to a place I do not know. And I shall come to report to Ahab, and when he does not find you, he shall kill me. But I, your servant, have feared Yahweh from my youth. Was it not reported to my master what I did when Jezebel killed the prophets of Yahweh, how I hid 100 men of the prophets of Yahweh, 50 to a cave, and fed them with bread and water? And now you say, go say to your master, Eliyahu is here, then he shall kill me. So Obadiah ain't for having it. He's like, I'm going to go say to Ahab, hey, Elijah's here. By the time he gets here to look, you're not going to be here anymore because the spirit of Yahweh will have whisked you away. And then Ahab's going to kill me. He's been looking all over Tar Nation for you and hasn't found you. And the places he hasn't found you, he has made the people in those places swear that you're not here. And now I'm just supposed to walk up to him and say, hey, I found Elijah. He's going to kill me, bro. Didn't you hear what I did to protect the prophets of Yah? Now this is how you want me to die? It's quite a rebuke from Obadiah to Elijah here. And Eliyahu, verse 15, said, as Yahweh of hosts lives, Yahweh Sabaoth, Yahweh of hosts. You see this phrase elsewhere in Malachi specifically. I'm the Lord Yahweh Sabaoth, I changed not, the Lord of hosts. That is the Sabaoth is hosts, those, it's like ranks of an army. It's almost the connotation of a general entering into war. On that authority, Yahweh Sabaoth. And Eliyahu said, as Yahweh of hosts lives, before whom I stand, I shall indeed show myself to him today. I'm not going anywhere. Obadiah then went to meet Ahab and informed him, and Ahab went to meet Eliyahu. And it came to be when Ahab saw Eliyahu that Ahab said to him, is that you, O disturber of Israel? And he answered, I have not disturbed Israel, but you and your father's house, and that you have forsaken the commands of Yahweh, and you have followed the Baals. And now, send and gather all Israel to me on Mount Carmel, the 450 prophets of Baal, and the 400 prophets of Asherah, who eat at Jezebel's table. And Ahab sent for all the children of Israel, and gathered the prophets on Mount Carmel. And Eliyahu came to all the people, and said, how long would you keep hopping between two opinions? Now he's talking to the people of Israel. If Yahweh is Elohim, follow him. And if Baal, follow him. Because you are lukewarm, I spit you out of my mouth. How does Yeshua rebuke Laodicea in the book of Revelation? Because you are lukewarm, I spit you out of my mouth. I would rather that you were hot or cold. That's what Eliyahu is saying here. How long would you keep hopping between two opinions? If Yahweh is Elohim, follow him. And if Baal, follow him. But the people answered him not a word. And Eliyahu said to the people, I alone am left a prophet of Yahweh, but the prophets of Baal are 450 men. Now let them give us 2 bulls, and let them choose 1 bull for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on the wood, but set no fire. And I prepare the other bull, and shall lay it on the wood, but set no fire. And you shall call on the name of your mighty one, and I call on the name of Yahweh. And the Elohim who answers by fire, he is Elohim. So all the people answered and said, the word is good. Sounds good, bro. Let's do it. And Eliyahu said to the prophets of Baal, choose 1 bull for yourself and prepare it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your mighty one, but set no fire. So they took the bull, which was given to them, and prepared it, and called on the name of Baal from morning until noon, saying, O Baal, answer us. But there was no voice, and no one answered. And they leaped about the slaughter place which they had made. And it came to be at noon that Eliyahu taunted them and said, cry aloud, for he is a mighty one. He is meditating, or is he busy, or is he on a journey? Or it could be that he is asleep and has to be awakened. Basically saying, hey bro, where's your false god at? And they cried aloud and cut themselves according to their ruling with knives and spears until the blood gushed out of them. Acts chapter 15, verses 15 through 19. One of the things that Gentile believers in Yeshua are not supposed to do is blood. And it came to be when midday was past that they prophesied until the time of bringing the evening offering. But there was no voice and no one answered, and no one was paying attention. Then Eliyahu said to all the people, come closer to me, all the people of Israel. And all the people came closer to him, and he repaired the slaughter place of Yahweh that was broken down. And Eliyahu took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the word of Yahweh had come, saying, Israel is your name. And with the stones he built a slaughter place in the name of Yahweh. And he made a trench around the slaughter place large enough to hold 2 seahs of seed. Big old trench. And he arranged the wood and cut the bull in pieces and laid it on the wood and said, fill 4 jars with water and pour it on the ascending offering and on the wood. Then he said, do it a second time. And they did it a second time. And he said, do it a third time. And they did it a third time. There's an interesting visualization here, or there's a corollary. This burnt offering that Elijah is preparing with the help of Yah. He's got 12 stones representing the 12 tribes of Israel, this altar. And he puts a sacrifice on top of this altar, the bull. The atoning offering, the sin offering. And then they dump 12 jars of water onto the offering, onto the altar. Well, there's 2 ways we clean things per the Torah. One is water, the other is fire. You can almost see the cleansing of water, the mitzvah that's taking place here as Elijah says, hey, go ahead. And it's multifaceted here. On the one hand, he's showing how powerful Yah is, that Yah is going to set fire to this, even though it's sopping wet. But also, the cleansing is taking place here. These 12 stones that represent the 12 tribes of Israel. The washing of the sin offering. It's very powerful if you stop and think about it. And the water flowed around the slaughter place, and he filled the trench with water too. And it came to be, at the time of bringing the evening offering, that Eliyahu the prophet came near and said, Yahweh Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today, you are Elohim in Israel, and I, your servant, have done all these matters by your word. Answer me, O Yahweh, answer me, and let this people know that you are Yahweh Elohim, and you shall turn their hearts back to you again. So there's a cleansing, there's an acknowledgement of Yah's power, there is the invitation into the heart, and then there's the setting of fire. How many people, after coming to knowledge of Messiah, giving their life over, just on fire for Yah? Verse 38, then the fire of Yahweh fell and consumed the ascending offering, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, consumed all of it, and it licked up the water that was in the trench. And all the people saw and fell on their faces and said, Yahweh, he is the Elohim. Yahweh, he is the Elohim. And Elijah said to them, seize the prophets of Baal. So now he's talking to the witnesses here who just watched Yah work, the children of Israel. And he says to them, go grab those false prophets. Seize the prophets of Baal. Do not let one of them escape. So they seized them. And Eliyahu brought them down by the Wadi Kishon and slew them there. Elijah, a man of Yah, a prophet of Yah, killed 450 false prophets of Baal, 400 prophets of the Asherah. Well, it's supposed to be meek, brother. Turn the other cheek. Negative. That argument is precisely in line with the Nahash, the enemy, in Genesis chapter 3. Did God really say? Did he? So you got to know the Father's word so that you be not deceived by the whispers of the enemy. You are not supposed to be a meek, effeminate male, a weak, effeminate male. The prophets of Yah are not weak, effeminate males. And true meekness is absolutely controlled power and authority. It's knowing that I can utterly destroy you, yet staying my hand in righteousness. That's biblical meekness. You can't be good if you don't have the capacity for utter destruction. If you're a weak, effeminate male, not a man of Yah. So they seized them, and Eliyahu brought them down to the Wadi Kishon and slew them there. And Eliyahu said to Ahab, "Go up, eat and drink, because of the sound of the noise of rain." And Ahab went up to eat and drink, and Eliyahu went to the top of Carmel, and bowed down on the ground, and put his face between his knees, and said to his servant, "Go up, please look closely toward the sea." So he went up and looked closely, and said, "Not a speck." And 7 times he said, "Go again." And it came to be at the 7th time that he said, "See, a little cloud as small as a man's hand is coming out of the sea." And he said, "Go up, say to Ahab, hitch up and go down before the rain stops you." And in the meantime, it came to be that the heavens became black with clouds and wind, and there was a heavy rain. And while Ahab rode and went to Yisrael, and the hand of Yahweh was on Eliyahu, and he girded up his loins, and he ran ahead of Ahab to the entrance of Yisrael. And when Ahab reported to Jezebel that all that Eliyahu had done, also how he slew the prophets with the sword, Jezebel sent a messenger to Eliyahu, saying, "So let the mighty ones do to me, and more also, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time." She's basically saying, "I'm going to kill you like you killed my prophets." And he feared, and rose up and ran for his life, and went to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a broom tree, and prayed that he might die, and said, "It is enough. Now Yahweh, take my life, for I am no better than my fathers." And he lay and slept under a broom tree, and see, a messenger touched him, and said to him, "Rise, eat." And he looked, and he saw by his head a cake baked on coals and a jar of water. So he ate and drank, and turned and lay down. And the messenger of Yahweh came back a 2nd time, and touched him, and said, "Rise, eat, for the journey is too much for you." And he rose up, and ate and drank, and went in strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights, as far as Horeb, the mountain of Elohim, fed by angels, for a 40-day journey from Ahab, Mount Carmel, to Mount Horeb, the mountain of Elohim. And there he went into a cave and spent the night there. And see, the word of Yahweh came to him and said to him, "What are you doing here, Eliyahu?" And he said, "I have been very jealous for Yahweh, Elohim of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken your covenant. They have thrown down your slaughter places. They have killed your prophets with the sword, and I am left, I alone, and they seek my life to take it." And he, Yahweh, said, "Go out and stand on the mountain before Yahweh." And see, Yahweh passed by, and a great and strong wind tearing the mountains and breaking the rocks in pieces before Yahweh. And Yahweh was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, and Yahweh was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire, and Yahweh was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still, small voice. And it came to be, when Eliyahu heard it, that he wrapped his face in his robe, and went out and stood at the cave opening. And see, a voice came to him and said, "What are you doing here, Eliyahu?" And he said, "I have been very jealous for Yahweh, Elohim of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken your covenant. They have thrown down your slaughter places, and they have killed your prophets with the sword. And I am left, I alone, and they seek my life to take it." It's as if he is the last repository for the word of Yah, and he doesn't want it to be lost. But he's also a man dealing with blood guilt and fear and shame, trying to do his best in service to Yah. And Yahweh said to him, "Go, return on your way to the wilderness of Damascus, and you shall go in and anoint Hazael as king over Aram, and anoint Jehu son of Nimshi as king over Israel, and anoint Elisha son of Shaphat of Abel Meholah as prophet in your place. And it shall be that whoever escapes the sword of Hazael, Jehu does kill, and whoever escapes the sword of Jehu, Elisha does kill. And I shall leave 7,000 in Israel, all whose knees have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that has not kissed him." And he went from there and found Elisha. So Yah says to Elijah, "I got a plan for this. You are going to go anoint these 3 men. And these 3 men are going to bring my vengeance." You know, and this is interesting. Vengeance is mine, so saith Yahweh. For sure. He's quite fond of using subcontractors from time to time, though. And I shall leave 7,000 in Israel, all whose knees have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that has not kissed him. And he went from there, and found Elisha, son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him, and he was with the 12th. And Eliyahu passed him by and threw his robe on him. So, Elisha is anointed as the prophet in Elijah's place. And so Elijah throws his robe on him. And he left the oxen and ran after Eliyahu and said, "Please let me kiss my father and my mother, then I follow you." And he said to him, "Go, turn back, for what have I done to you?" You can see almost the gravity in this. He's like, yeah, what have I done to you? I am passing this ordination from me to you, and I understand the weight of it. Yes, go, kiss your father and your mother goodbye. There's an interesting parallel, or lack thereof, here in Matthew chapter 10. Matthew 10:37. Yeshua speaking, "He who loves father and mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take up a stake and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who has found his life shall lose it, and who has lost his life for my sake shall find it. He who receives you receives me, and he who receives me receives him who sent me, Yahuwah. He who receives a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. And he who receives a righteous one in the name of a righteous one shall receive a righteous one's reward. And whoever gives one of these little ones a cup of cold water only in the name of a taught one, truly I say to you, he shall by no means lose his reward." And that's backed up. Second witness is Luke 14. Matthew, Mark, Luke 14:26. Yeshua again speaking, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother and wife, or love less," that word hate there gets a lot of people jammed up. The Hebrew means to love less. "If anyone comes to me and does not love less his father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, his own life too, he is unable to be my taught one. And whoever does not bear his stake and come after me is unable to be my taught one. For who of you, wishing to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid the foundation and is unable to finish it, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, 'This man began to build and was unable to finish.' Or what king going to fight against another king does not sit down first and take counsel whether he is able with 10,000 to meet with him who comes against him with 20,000? And if not, while the other is still far away, he sends a delegation and asks conditions of peace. So then, every one of you who does not give up all that he has is unable to be my taught one." Interesting. So Elijah here, when he throws his robe on Elisha, he understands the gravity of what he has just done to Elisha because he's been living it. Elijah has mercy on him and says, "Yeah, go kiss your parents goodbye." And Elijah, turned back from him and took a yoke of oxen. Elijah turned back from him and took a yoke of oxen and slaughtered them and cooked their flesh using the implements of the oxen and gave it to the people, and they ate. And he rose up and followed Eliyahu and became his servant. We'll end there for today. We'll pick up in 20 next week. I appreciate y'all. Shabbat Shalom.